Setting goals is the easy part, but actually executing them is a whole different story. We set ambitious goals, like losing 20 pounds in 1 month, starting a successful business right away, or meeting the perfect spouse and building an ideal relationship. But when it's time to take action, why do we tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow? Why do we feel tired even before we begin the very things we set out to accomplish? What we often call laziness can actually come from carrying a heavy burden of mental clutter. In other words, when we say we're lazy, it can also mean we're anxious. And that also means if you want to beat procrastination, you need to take care of your emotional state rather than being too harsh on yourself, especially if you want change that lasts in the long term. In today's video, I'll share 3 simple tips that can help you reduce an anxious state. Tips that can boost your energy and help you focus on the things that move you toward your goals. 1. Visit your YouTube history. This is something my husband was already doing and he suggested it to me, so I started doing it as well. Basically, this simple step helps you become more aware of what you have been watching, much like revisiting your journal. But why does this help calm you down and even increase your energy levels? I believe the problem with today's overwhelming amount of content isn't the content itself in many cases. It's that we don't take the time to digest it, let alone remember what we watched. It's like buying too many clothes every day and throwing them into your closet so quickly that you don't know what to pick or wear, let alone knowing what's in there. As the saying goes, too much information becomes no information until you make it your own. Moreover, it can leave our mental room cluttered and unstable, like trying to walk through a messy room in the dark. You might step on a piece of Lego block, and if you have kids, you know exactly what that feels like. YouTube history is just one example. This idea can be applied to any content you've consumed. To practice this, you can take a minute or two to reflect on what you have watched, or jot down a few thoughts or lessons about what you've learned and how you might apply it to your life. Have you ever experienced this? Sometimes, I don't know if you can relate. We carry lingering emotions without quite knowing where they came from. Think about the endless content we consume. It takes our minds up and down hundreds of times. Yet, we don't even remember what those moments were, what those triggers were. Self-awareness is one of the most powerful ways to calm yourself, regulate your emotions, and enter a focused state, especially when you need to focus on something important. So before you start a focus session, especially when you're feeling disorganized or messy, take just 5 minutes to check in with yourself through a quick review or journaling. Take a few minutes to review the content you've consumed and experiences you've had, like going through your YouTube history. That simple actions can help you notice what you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. Just a quick disclaimer. The 3 small habits I share in this video are not a solution for anxiety or depression. That said, in my experience, these are some of the easiest things you can try. Starting today, that may help reduce anxiety. They helped me, and they also helped my husband, who has struggled with anxiety since he was a teenager. And of course, for any medical concerns, please consult your doctor. 2. Clean up your desk. You've probably heard this 1,000 times. I know. Clean your desk. Yes, it's neat and all. But why is it actually so important? Well, I think it's because cleaning your desk is much easier than cleaning your mind. You can't organize your thoughts that easily unless you've learned your own way of doing it with many years of experiences. But when you clean your desk, it almost magically kickstarts that mental organizing process. See, this is a great example of how our actions can in turn influence our mind. Picture this for a moment. You wake up late for work, skip breakfast, rush out the door, and spend the entire day trying to catch up. How do you feel? The whole day feels chaotic. You're tired, exhausted, and letting out a big sigh by the end of the day, right? If you start your day unprepared and rushed, it's no surprise that the entire day feels chaotic and rushed. That's why waking up even 30 minutes earlier or having a simple morning routine can be incredibly helpful. It gives you the feeling of, I'm ready to tackle the day. The same principle applies to cleaning up your desk. It may feel like you're wasting your time on something that doesn't seem very meaningful at the moment. especially when you already have so much to do. But I found that taking just a few minutes to tidy up actually leads to better productivity and higher quality focus. In Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he talks about the importance of sharpening and taking care of the saw if you want to maintain its productivity and achieve meaningful results. If one neglects this and says, I don't have time, I'm too busy sawing, they eventually won't be able to saw at all. In the same way, taking care of our physical health and emotional state is never a waste of time. It's actually one of the most effective ways to move forward because we ourselves are precious tools that also need care. By the way, this is my all-time favorite books, which I've talked about many times in my videos. That said, this doesn't mean you need to do a deep clean of the entire room every day. That would take too much energy and leave you with little left for your planned work. Instead, use your weekends for bigger cleanups. You can think of this as part of your routine, briefly tying up and organizing your work environment before you start your tasks. Or even better, the day before. 3. Do one thing at a time and only one thing. I used to believe in multitasking because I thought it was a smart way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I even envied people who seemed good at it because I always considered myself not the sharpest tool in the shed. Then one day, a friend said to me, "Did you know there are scientific studies showing that multitasking can actually damage your brain?" So I started researching multitasking myself. There are actually research studies showing that multitasking can negatively affect brain function and cognition. Regardless of individual differences, when people multitask, the brain actually rapidly switches attention rather than doing 2 things at once. This switch costs time and energy and makes focus worse, not better. And when your focus is divided, it limits how deeply you can concentrate or truly understand the work you're doing. That's why multitasking is linked to higher stress levels and reduced executive function. As a result, I completely changed my perspective on it. Although, to be honest, I wasn't multitasking that much to begin with. And just to be clear, I'm not talking about listening to music while doing the dishes or going for a run. What I mean by doing one thing at a time is avoiding things like this: scrolling on your phone while watching a movie, reading or checking emails while exercising, talking to someone while constantly looking at your phone, jumping back and forth between multitasks without finishing any of them. So I recommend that when you're doing one thing, do nothing else. When you focus, you not only get better results, but some of that anxiety also begins to ease. The famous actor Jim Carrey once said something intriguing that really stayed with me. He said that we spend too much energy time traveling, worrying about the future, and regretting the past. We try to change the future, but in doing so, we waste the most precious thing we have, the present moment. Being present and focusing on what you can do your best right now is how real progress happens. And when you can see that progress, even in small ways, it helps reduce discomfort and anxiety. In the comments on my last sugar-related video, I noticed that many of you shared how consuming too much sugar affected your mental health and emotional state. That alone can be a powerful reason to cut back on sugar. Along with the simple tips I've shared in today's video, taking care of ourselves, especially our emotional state, is incredibly important because it influences every area of our lives. I hope you felt informed, inspired, and encouraged today. Please leave a comment and let me know which tip you plan to try or which one you've already been practicing. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!